Hey, we're back.
Hi.
Hi. Yeah.
Hi.
So
How's
you
it
ready to
going?
do this?
Yeah, season 2, episode 2 of The Last of Us,
Is
our
the name
weekly
of it Through the Valley? What's the name of this
Through the
episode?
Valley.
Through the Valley. Okay.
Which before we get started, I want to give a shout out. So that song is written by this guy named Sean James. We discovered Sean James through the trailer
The trailer, yeah.
for the second game. Ellie's playing the song in the abandoned house or whatever. And I was like, hey, that's really good. So I Googled it, and it's written by this guy named Sean James. And if you like things that are awesome and good music, Sean James is awesome, unbelievably talented, powerful guy. First few albums were all acoustic, and then he's gotten into a little bit more instrumentality and stuff like that. So it's a little bit different than his original stuff.
But he's
Unbelievable.
talented.
He's
man.
unbelievable voice. Writes
What do they
awesome
say?
songs.
A generational talent. I mean, that's
Yeah.
what he is.
He had a band called Sean James of the Shapeshifters. Kind of the same thing but different. Like it's a whole band and a little bit. It's just good stuff. So if you like good music, check out Sean James. Especially his earlier stuff. But anything by him is really good.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's the name of the episode, Through the Valley.
This will be spoilers again.
For the episode, not for the
episode.
right.
Not for anything else. So if you haven't watched it, go watch the episode, come back and check us out.
Yeah.
So, okay.
We start with Abby. We start with the dream sequence.
We start with Abby where she's having the dream of basically telling herself to not go in and see her father deceased.
Right. His brains are on the floor.
His brains are on the floor.
Yeah.
And then they give you some little clips showing Joel going in there, doing his thing.
Which you still don't know who he is related to her yet. You don't find that out until later.
Well, you don't know which one is her dad until she says,
right,
brains are on the floor.
Right. Well, I think even then, like, she's going in and someone who's in that operating room, you could put it together because I think Joel is the only one that he shot. You mean
the doctor's the only one that he shot?
Yeah. I think the doctor's the only. So yeah, you can kind of put it together, but they still don't outright tell you just yet. You're still trying to have to kind of figure it out for yourself.
Yeah.
Until later in the episode.
So
I think that was a great start to the episode. The dream sequence and showing Abby and
she wakes up and they're in the it was a former ski lodge, I think.
Yes, which is it's uncanny how they copied it. That room with the big open window looking over the town, they copied that. They made it exactly like the game.
That's how it looked in the game.
It was striking. Like I watched it this week with my son, and I think I told him like they did it exactly right. Everything from the way the room was laid out to the window, it was uncannily. It was exactly like the game.
Uncannily done.
Yes, it was that.
I guess that's a word.
Yeah, it was. They did a fantastic job on just making it seem like they were where they were in the game. That was great.
Yeah, so they show that and they realize once it's daylight, holy crap, it's a whole town.
Right. Yeah, they thought they were dealing with a little community, right?
So now they're like, okay, what do we do? So she goes and she's going to take the next watch.
Mm-hmm.
She leaves. What's the guy's name? The right-hand man, basically. The guy with the beard.
I forget his name.
He tells her he's got an idea for a plan.
Yeah.
And then he reveals after Sheila walks out, the idea is just give it up.
This is suicide. Right. We're not going to win this. I need to convince her to leave. And
he was correct.
Yeah.
If things would have gone that way, they probably wouldn't have made it.
And this is where you kind of find out a little bit later that they are military. So he's thinking strategically, and she's running on just revenge. She wants to find this guy no matter the
pure
cost.
Emotion. Yeah.
Right.
Which I'm sorry, she's a good little actress, but she doesn't scare me.
Listen,
she doesn't convince me.
I have the same. I think she's doing a good job, but the physicality is a problem for me. Knowing some of the things that are coming, the physicality is a problem. I think they made a mistake with that. She jumping ahead. The emotion is there, and she's a great actress. We'll get to that a little bit later. But yeah, the physicality I think is gonna end up being kind of an issue.
It became an issue in this one, right when she, I guess she started to fall down the side of the mountain when she sees the two. It ended up being Joel and
right, which she didn't know at the time, but that's when she woke up.
Joel and Dina, is that?
Joel and Dina.
So she's trying to get a closer look.
Right.
So her sliding down is kind of tracking. Okay.
Yeah. Well, so they changed a lot with that. In the game, Joel and Dina were not out. Joel and Tommy were out on patrol, and Ellie and Dina were on patrol.
Oh, okay.
So they changed that a lot, which is interesting to see what's going to happen, because you're going to find out later in the episode. In the game, it's Joel and Tommy that rescue Abby, not Joel and Dina, and there's consequences that result from that. So they changed it up, and I like it.
Yeah,
I like that it's not a carbon
copy. You don't know everything that's coming, or you know some of what's coming, but it's going to be a little different.
Right, it's going to be a little bit different, and I think that's great. It's another one of those things like, well, why did they do that? But the more I thought about it, like, yeah, give us something a little bit different.
So she slides down and she ends up where they were actually talking about the infected were using dead bodies as insulation, right?
And I kind of wish, because they foreshadow for later in the episode, like these hundreds of infected come up and they make the attack or whatever. They foreshadowed that, and I kind of wish they would have kind of kept that a surprise for later, because you already had the foreshadowing of the fungus in the pipe.
Yeah, and we
already know from the first season that they're using that to communicate, which is also awesome. Something new that they did for the show. I kind of wish they wouldn't have had those couple of lines about, and they do talk about in the game. They talk about they like have mention of attacks from raiders and stuff, but nothing on the scale of what we saw. So that's also something different. The attack on the town, and I'm getting a little bit of ahead, but I wish they would have kind of left that. Like that could have been more of a surprise, because as soon as he says that, something's going to happen later. Yeah.
So it happens. They start coming out from the ground once she lands basically in the middle of them.
Right.
So they start coming out, and look, having not played the game, it's a cool scene, right? Yeah. It's a great scene.
And it happens pretty similar in the game. Like they start chasing her, and that's
but this is where the physicality comes.
Yeah.
She looks like a little girl running.
Yeah.
From something. So I'm like, I could already tell that it's going to be a problem just from the first 10 minutes of the episode.
Yeah. Acting wise, emotion wise, she's got it. She's doing a great job, but I need to be able to believe that she
could do some of the things that she's going to need to do.
Right.
Not just in this episode, but later in the season.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Cause we're just getting started with that.
Yeah. So now she's running and she climbs this fence. And I saw somebody playing the game. That scene is in the game where all the infected are falling on the fence.
Yeah,
I didn't realize it was Abby though. I thought it was Ellie.
No, that was Abby.
It was Abby. Okay.
Which they did a phenomenal job of the infected slamming against the fence, and they show the fence breaking. Yeah. They show how they're getting close to her, and the faces up against the fence.
Well, and they were basically pushing their hands through.
Yeah. That one little shot with the hand going through was cutting through the hand. Yeah, that was really well done.
As soon as I saw it, I was like, "Oh, I've seen that." But for some reason, I thought it was Ellie. I didn't realize it was Abby.
Yeah, that's her running.
So of course, no secret, Joel saves her butt.
Joel saves her, and I think it's very shortly after that it's Dina says his name, and she has
immediately
kind of a holy crap moment.
It's Joel.
Yeah.
A little convenient, happened a little fast.
Yeah.
They could have, I don't know how it happened in the game, but from watching it on screen and from a show standpoint, you would hope for a little more build up maybe.
Yeah.
But it just seemed really fast and really convenient.
I kind of like the suddenness of it, and I kind of like the fact that you can see her struggling with, this is the guy that I'm looking for. This is the guy I want to kill, but I need to rely on him right now to save my life.
And I need to get him.
Yeah. So you can kind of see the gears turning, and like, I can't do anything about it now, but she's working on her plan. And
so that's basically what happened, but it was Joel and Tommy.
It was Joel and Tommy. That's right.
And she kind of convinces them the same way. I have people over here that can help us.
Right.
Okay.
And this is all around the same time that the attack on Jackson is happening. And it's kind of neat because that doesn't happen in the game. They actually attack the lodge. They follow him and attack the lodge. And it's neat because like the barrels roll in, the oil barrels, and they set the fire and everything. It's kind of what they did at the lodge. They threw a bunch of Molotovs and stuff and they set them on fire, and that's how they quelled.
But this is neat. I like this.
Oh, it was awesome. It was like a medieval siege is what it reminded me of. It was, and you like hold the line and all that other stuff. That was really, really well done. And again, something new that we haven't seen in the game that they did a phenomenal job.
That big heavy.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool.
The bloater, I don't understand why they did, because it was CGI. I'm pretty sure it was
big time. Maybe some of it might have been half and half, but
I wish they wouldn't have. That took me out of it a little bit because it was neat.
Yeah.
But I feel like they could have had somebody do that instead of.
But a lot of the CGI in this episode was questionable.
The dogs.
The dogs
were awesome.
It was a great scene, but it's obvious CGI. It's kind of like John Wick 3. Remember the.
Yeah. It was a mixture.
It was a mixture of CGI.
You can almost see the cut. Yeah. Those dogs were. I wish they would have showed a little bit more of that. I didn't want any of the dogs to die. I didn't care about the people of the town. But those dogs were.
It's funny how
precious. Yeah.
It's like Sisu. Remember? Don't worry, the dog doesn't die. Don't worry, the
dog doesn't die.
Oh no, the dog lives.
The dog lives. Yeah. The attack on the town, the flamethrowers, which is a weapon in the game, and that's how it works. You burn them until they kind of finally. And I wasn't expecting that. I thought someone was going to jump in and save him. I wasn't expecting the thing to just kind of die.
Yeah, me too. I thought his wife was going to come and shoot him.
I thought that was kind of neat. They again another surprise. They kind of surprised you a little bit with that.
So getting back to the lodge. So they get back to the lodge during the attack, and it happened faster than I thought was going to happen.
Yeah.
I thought she would just kind of get him to calm down a little bit, but it was almost immediate.
Yeah.
His name is Joel. And they all just turn around.
And that's kind of how it happens.
That's how it happens.
All the same characters, the Nora and the Latin guy, I can't remember his name all of a sudden.
Oh yeah,
that's the one that she cuts. There's an extra character. She doesn't cut him in the game. She cuts somebody else, and that comes into play a little bit later in the game. So that guy, the guy from the game that she cuts, I don't think was there.
So so obviously the audience should have watched this already. They know the scene. We don't have to spell it out.
Yeah.
So I want to lay out some of my issues.
Okay.
One, the physicality part. I mean, I understand she's got a golf club, so you can do a lot of damage with that. Doesn't matter how big you are.
She also blew his knee out.
Right.
And was on top of him.
But before all of that, when she was close to him, Joel's a strong man.
Yeah.
He could have, like, the whole time, I just want to reach and grab her by her little face and her hair.
Yeah.
He did nothing.
Yeah.
And I kind of have a problem with that. And I think that's why a lot of people have a problem with it in the games.
He could have defended himself.
The Joel we all know would not have gone out like that. And that I kind of had a problem with. Even if he knows I'm about to die, what's the harm in trying to fight?
It's almost like, he's been through enough to not. A lot of the complaint I had heard was that he wouldn't have put himself in that situation, and like he wouldn't have let his
trusted her
down
so easily to go.
And I don't really buy into that.
Well, the way they set it up, it was so fast they had no choice.
Right. Exactly. And I guess maybe he could have put up a fight, but I mean, I don't know.
And maybe it was one of those, he felt like he deserved to die and he just didn't want to fight back.
Yeah, maybe so.
And that's why he told her, shut the up and just get on.
Shut up and get on.
Because that's the only thing he said the whole time.
Yeah. And that's paraphrasing the game. He says something about, are you going to finish your speech or are you going to just get on with it?
Yeah.
So that's from the game also, which was, I love that line. Yeah. That was like, he knows what's coming. He's going to face it.
So
I thought that was pretty cool.
But getting back to Joel and Ellie, and I guess one of my biggest problems with the show, and it could be just because I only watched season 1 once, and I just don't really remember. You recently rewatched it, right?
I was going to, but I didn't. I ended up not rewatching. Do you feel they did enough to make you feel like Joel and Ellie were that close? You're gonna get more of that.
But in the first game, I felt it.
In the first game, you felt it
because you have 40 hours
right
of gameplay, and there's much more time than a TV show. So okay. So hopefully we get a lot more where we can see just how close they were at one point.
Joel is not out of the show. The rest of the game, he's in the rest of the game. It's told through flashbacks, and it's stuff from from around right after the first game when she was
the
much
last
younger.
5 years.
Right. It's a lot of that stuff. So you'll get that, and you make a good point. How are they going to circle back and tie that to this moment in this episode to make you feel that impact again?
I felt it because I played the first game.
Right.
So I felt it when it happened. But I just think that casual watchers who didn't play the game would be like, it wouldn't be that big of a deal that Joel got killed.
Right. Yeah. And I mean, you got to remember also, like, that's his daughter. He lost his daughter in the first game, in the first movie show. That it's, it's basically a surrogate daughter. But yeah, you don't know at this point, you don't know what happened between them and the in between, and why she was upset with him and how they kind of made up or whatever. So it'll be interesting to see as it goes along how they tie it all back together.
I hope they do a good job and make you really feel how they just feel the impact.
Yeah.
I just feel like they haven't done that yet in this series. But I don't really remember season 1 that much because I only watched it once.
Yeah. And look, part of it is Ellie. Part of it is
she's
the little girl playing Ellie.
I'm going to say it though, and this is another problem with the game that people like myself and others had. She's such a shit in this at this point.
Yeah.
She's just not a nice or person.
She's not likable.
She's not likable.
Yeah.
And I think that was a big problem in the story for the game, and it's translating so far.
And look, when she's on the floor, when she goes in and sees what's going on, and she's on the floor, and she's like, that was very well done. And I think that might be, I can remember a few moments from the first season, but that might have been the best acting from her, the most emotional
acting.
Yeah, that was really good. And that was, once again, they put her on the floor face first, and she's looking at him and telling him to get up, and that's kind of how it happened.
Now, did she stab him in the neck with the broken golf club like that?
No, it wasn't broken. She there was like a killing blow. She hit him with it. Okay. She didn't do that. But that's one of the things Jacob said. He wished that, but if he would have done that, then they wouldn't have been able to have the moment where she goes up to him and lays down on him and all that. So I think that's why they made that change, which was, you got the crane shot from above, and that was kind of neat. And I think it's something else really important. They put Dina to sleep. So Dina wakes up and she still don't know who these people are.
Yeah.
So I think that's important too. Like, she knows that they're going after these people, but they don't know why. She remembers names. She remembers the organization. She took note of all that stuff, but she doesn't know who they are.
Yeah. So now explain to me what happened in the game with Tommy. Since it was Tommy that was in there with him, what happened?
Tommy, it was kind of the same thing. They rough him up and they beat him up, and I think they might have shot him too, because I remember he had a limp for the rest of the game, because stuff happens to Tommy later, and I kind of get the who did what to who kind of mixed up. But I'm pretty sure I think they might have shot Tommy too.
So he watched them kill Joel. Or was he out of it?
I think he was out.
He was out.
I don't think he watched it. I don't think he saw it. I think Ellie was the only one that saw it.
Okay.
I think that's how it goes, if I remember correctly. I wish Jacob would have come. He just finished playing it. He would have remembered everything. But that's kind of how it happened.
Well, I mean, and of course, they ended with what's her name, who played Ellie in the game, singing.
Yeah, Ashley Johnson.
Ashley Johnson.
I made the comment when we were watching it, like, that song and the crane shot and the aftermath of the attack, Abby and her crew walking away, them dragging Joel back. They could have ended the season right there.
Yeah, it was very well done. That was great.
Yeah.
After it finished, I was like, this might be the best episode of the series so far.
Right.
Right. Because I remember even being a little disappointed in the finale. of last season.
Yeah.
But anyway, it was very well done. Ashley Johnson, she actually can really sing. She said she had to try to not sing as well to come off as Ellie singing.
Right.
So she,
they had to kind of make it sound
wrong, and they had to make it sound like somebody who
it sounds a little bit more raw and emotional that way. Because I've seen her perform it. They've done it live, and she's great.
But
she's really good.
She has sung or sang in other things before, so. But she's just, it would be so awesome if she could play Ellie, but she's like our age, so she's too old to play Ellie.
Man, there are so many other choices they could have gone with.
Same thing with
same thing with Abby.
With Abby,
yeah.
We were talking at work today. What about that the rugby player Ilmar or whatever her name is? The American rugby player. She did Dancing with the Stars. She could have pulled it off.
Jogs the memory. I don't know.
Looks wise.
Yeah.
I don't know. She may be a terrible actress. I don't know.
Yeah.
But looks wise, she would have been, because she's only 28 years old. So she's really only 4 years older than the Abby character. She could have pulled it off.
Yeah.
Big girl, in good shape.
Yeah.
Because she's like 5'10", good shape, and she could pull off the physical stuff.
Yeah.
Whether or not she could pull off the acting and emotional stuff, I don't know. But the point that we were trying to make is, look, you don't have to look exactly like the video game, but you got to be convincing. This character relies on being just a hard-nosed soldier.
Yeah, she's a leader.
Is just a mad soldier.
Right.
She's not, even when she was punching Joel, I wasn't convinced. It didn't look good. It looked like a dainty little girl punching a grown man who was defenseless.
Yeah, it that took me out of it a little bit for sure.
But besides the complaining, and that's only because we know otherwise.
One
other complaint I did have. When she said, "Do we look like Raiders to you?" and he goes, "No," and he's like, "You look like military." They don't look like military. Right. I'm sorry. These actors do not look military to me.
Maybe with their equipment and that time period,
everybody
that day and age.
Like that,
yeah, maybe so. I don't know. That didn't really bother me too much.
I'm too old.
Maybe their demeanor. I don't know. They maybe seem more organized. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, if you got to stretch it that much,
I can buy the guy with the beard.
Yeah.
But all the rest of them, including the Latin guy, they called him a pendejo.
Yeah.
Manny.
It just
I didn't really buy him as looking military. So for Joel to just automatically think you're military.
Yeah.
Only because the script says so. But of course, Pedro's no soldier either.
And they
with them boots he was wearing.
Yeah. They did talk about there's no fireflies left. And that was neat how she led into that. She tried to tell them who they were without telling them who they were. That was kind of neat. A couple other things I have on the episode. The attack on the town again.
It was really good.
I remember thinking to myself, how are they going to get out of this? Like, how is the town going to survive this? Where are they going with it? And they ended up, fending off the attack or whatever. Did they really explain why the infected? Because they were all going towards the
roots. That guy exposed the roots. There was a worker inside who he thought it was regular roots.
Right. But halfway through the attack, they started going like away from the town.
Yes, they got called to the town. They were chasing Joel, and then there was two different groups.
Right.
And they got called to the town by the roots. So they all converged as one and then went to the town.
Right.
That's how I took it.
Right. And I know that, but I feel like during the attack on the town, a group broke off and ran away from the town. We're going somewhere else.
No, they were flanking them.
Is that what it was?
They were going off to the side. That's why he said they're going to breach. So they started going off to the side, and the bloater broke down the wall.
Yeah, that was just
because you notice where he broke. Scene. They had the doors reinforced with bulldozers and trucks.
Right.
But on the side,
he broke through the side.
They went to the side.
Okay, that's what it was. They were flanking. Right. Okay, I missed that. We talked a little bit about they show her beating him up. It was a little unconvincing because of her size, but they did show her rage. They showed her anger and showed her rage. So that was thought that was neat. That's not really something, if I remember correctly, they didn't have any kind of extended beating in the game like that. Like you just know he got messed up pretty bad. Someone had brought something up. I was reading the comments somewhere. They had said something about and I'd never thought about this before. I mean, after years of playing the game, how Joel showed his character by he could have possibly tried to say, hey, I still have Ellie. She's still alive. Maybe we could make some kind of deal. Maybe. And he didn't go that like, route. Nope. He didn't say like that's something that he would never do. Mm-hmm. And that's just a neat thought. Like I'd never really thought about that before. And it's true. He could have tried to barter. He could have tried to bargain. Didn't say nothing. He didn't say a thing. And
he told him where he was, Salt Lake.
Get on with it. Yeah.
Like, basically, I killed all those SOBs.
Yeah. And some of that, like that dialogue, some of that was he didn't say. Last time I was encountered the Fireflies, I was in Salt Lake. I don't remember that in the game. So they added to that a good bit. They added a lot of depth to that. The Eugene thing. I still want to know what happened, and it's got to come up. I still want to know what happened between Eugene and Joel. I want to know why Joel had to put him down, and I want to see more of Joel and Catherine O'Hara.
Maybe he wasn't infected. Maybe he was drunk acting a fool, or
I don't know,
something like that, because they didn't say he was infected.
No, I don't get the sense at all that it was that he was bit or infected or anything.
She just said something happened. You had to kill him or whatever.
She said something about it's a shame he had to put him down like that or something like that. So I want to know what happened with that, and I want to see more Catherine O'Hara. They've got to have more of that in the therapy sessions, whatever, in the flashback scenes.
Chance, my nephew Chance said that the Asian guy,
Jesse,
that he thought that it was the same guy that's in the game. He looks that much like
him. He does look alike. I've seen that guy in one other show, this show called Beef on Netflix that I decided to watch, and it was actually pretty good. And he was good in it. He plays like a kind of a deadbeat brother, gets into trouble, and he was good in that. That's the only other thing I had ever recognized him from.
Oh, and I heard the bong mask makes an appearance in the game.
Yeah. I think it was like a collectible or something.
Yeah, like you pick it up or something.
Yeah. That was in there. But again, it's Ellie and Dina that find that. So that leads me to something that's kind of surprised me. Something we were talking about. Sometimes it might feel like they have an agenda in the show. The scene in the game where they find that place and that leads to Ellie and Dina
becoming a thing,
getting physical. Kind of surprised they cut that out. And moving forward with the things that have happened in this episode, I don't know if there's going to be a place in the story in the game. Hopefully they just don't insert that in there like they did last season. But I'm surprised that they cut that out, and pleasantly surprised. We don't need to see all that.
Right.
But
it's not a bad thing for her to have a romantic.
No, not at all.
That does not need to be a focal point in the series.
Right.
Right. Because frankly, I don't care.
Right. Same.
You know, seeing a husband and wife kiss, say they love each other, or wife and wife, husband and husband, whatever, fine. But we don't need extended, gratuitous scenes.
We can spend time on other things,
and on other
story elements,
because none of that matters.
Yeah. So I was surprised. I was glad that they made that choice. We didn't need to see all that. They mixed that up, and like I said, going forward, I don't know where if they're gonna be able to fit that into the story, because
I'm sure they will. I can't imagine
things are about to go down. You know.
I mean, I can't imagine they completely cut out a relationship, but who knows? Maybe.
Yeah. But yeah, now that the thing is out of the way, the killing of Joel, I'm really looking forward to the rest of the season. There are a couple of things where it seems like they're going to go a different route with a couple of things, a couple of characters. I'm very optimistic that the rest of the season is going to be great.
Yeah, I mean,
still more things to come, more characters to be introduced, more factions are going to show up. There's only 7 episodes left, so
a lot's going to happen.
A lot's got to happen in a little bit of time. And you know, they said that I didn't watch certain websites or whatever, YouTube channels had reviewed the entire season. I didn't watch any of that, but I did kind of get the feeling that it's going to be a more action-packed season. It already has been.
Oh yeah,
a more action-packed season.
That's what I was fixing to say. I didn't want to cut you off. So far, I have a better feeling about this season than I did in season 1.
Yeah.
And what's crazy is I love the game, and then I have lots of issues with the game of part 2.
Right.
So it's kind of interesting. I don't know. Maybe
it might be one of those things where season 2 makes season 1 better, makes season 1 more enjoyable.
Well, you know why? Because Druckmann, is that his name?
Yeah.
Hasn't written either one of these episodes. He wrote almost all of them, or was partial writer in first season.
Yeah.
So that might have something to do with it as well.
Yeah,
he might have gotten a little hands off on this.
Keep an eye on that. Yeah. Yeah, it's an interesting point.
So anyway, well,
I give this episode a 2 big thumbs up.
Yeah,
really enjoyed it. A couple of issues. We'll see how those things play out. But I'm really looking forward to the rest of the season. Like we said
in that first episode, anytime you translate a video game or a book to a show or a movie, you're gonna have issues. You're gonna have things you don't like.
Yeah,
it's just overall, does it come together?
Yeah,
and that's what we're hoping. That so far, it's doing well.
Yeah,
we'll see how it all comes together at the end.
Yeah, we'll be there. We'll be watching for sure.
All right. Well, that'll do it for episode 2. We'll see y'all next week.
See y'all.